Welcome back here today at Florida Panhandle Technical College talking about drafting. If you're a regular viewer of the show, you know that drafting enjoys a 100% placement rate. People that graduate the class have assuredness of getting a very well-paid job. Here today with Jordan Brown, currently a student in drafting program under the tutelage of Tanya Taylor. We're going to be talking to Jordan about drafting in general, maybe how he got involved, and more importantly, what he sees as his opportunities going forward, getting out of that class and looking square in the eyes of a well-paid job. We'll be right back. Welcome back. As mentioned, our guest today is Jordan Brown, currently enrolled as a student in the drafting program here at Florida Panhandle Technical College. Jordan, I kind of yanked you out of your class today. Thanks for taking the time. I appreciate you allowing us to interview you today.
You're welcome.
We talk a lot to Tanya and her students, mainly because of the proximity. She's right next door to us here. A little tougher to get people out of the welding class, although we have recently. And some of the other classrooms that may be a little bit farther removed from the studio here. Drafting, as we discussed a little bit in the pre-show, you've had businesses come into your classroom and hire people out of that class before they were even done with their training. Yeah. Let's back up a little bit. Talk a little bit about Jordan Brown. Who are you? Where'd you go to high school? And how did you end up here in this class?
Well, I've always lived in Chipley, and I went to high school here in Chipley, and I was in the engineering programs with Miss Saunders and Mr. Carter, and they kind of took me through the basis of engineering, learning formulas, how to use some of the programs already. And I was kind of led onto it. I came into class one day here, and she sat me down, and she kind of she gave me a project, and she wanted to see what I could do so far as what I'd learned through high school. And it kind of gave me an idea, and I went up through as soon as high school was over, that's what I'd planned to do throughout high school, was to come here and work on my drafting. So after high school was over, I came and I signed up, and I've been here ever since.
Now, you expressed some of your interests and why you got into the drafting program. Lots of job opportunities out there. What are you looking at now, possibly, when you do finish up drafting?
I was hoping to get hired on with Boozell and Hamilton in Panama City. And a couple of the students, I'm not sure an exact number, but have got hired on from our class. And speaking of them, it's a good job. I mean, they enjoy being there. They really enjoy what they do. And I mean, that's what I was looking forward to doing after I got done.
Booz Allen being a government contractor, doing classified work, certainly a growth industry, one that there'll never be any lack of a need for draftspeople or engineers and so forth. At this stage, and I realize that you're a young guy and got the whole world ahead of you, do you look at drafting as being the end all or being that end game and that thing which you do, or are you still looking toward the engineering, or what do you feel about that?
As of now, I think I'm going to stick with drafting, but I've heard people say that when you get into it, you kind of feel like you want to go farther with it. So I mean, for now, just drafting, but maybe in the future go farther with it.
It sounds like you were an instructor's dream. You came here knowing pretty much what you wanted to do, walked right into it, and obviously are applying yourself. What, if any, has been a challenge in being in that drafting program here?
I don't know if we have had any challenges. I mean, Miss Taylor, she's a really good instructor. I mean, she does what she can to get around and help us with the things we need. And I mean, setting us up for success.
I'm glad you mentioned Miss Taylor. That was my next question. She's been on the show several times. Our viewers would certainly know her. She, like a lot of instructors here, talk about that extended family that just keeps growing. People that graduate from the class, go out, start a family, get a job, start a career, come back and thank that instructor in that respective program. Talk a little bit about what you've experienced in Miss Taylor's class, in her as an instructor.
Well, I mean, she's probably been, well, of course, the basis of what we've been doing in there. I mean, she's taught us. I came into the class knowing some of what I needed to know because I had used a couple of the programs before. But, I mean, everything else that I needed, she kind of brought it there for me. so I'd have everything that I needed to be successful in the class and have what I needed to have and get me where I needed to be for the future.
Your grandfather is Don Brown. Your family's been in the funeral home business for quite some time. Obviously, you're not following that career path like your brother Ryan is. Mm-hmm. What's been the best part of being in the drafting program and being a part of Florida Panhandle Technical College?
I'd say a brighter future. Just an opportunity to go other places, learn new things, and meet new people. And I mean, it's just created opportunities.
The opportunities afforded here at the Technical College certainly are strong, probably made so even more by the name change. Just within the last year, we've gone from a technical center to a technical college. Up to that point, we were called the VOTEC, for lack of a better term. Yeah. It was a little disparaging. I think that maybe some kids, when they get out of high school, they wanted to go off to a four-year college, maybe something prestigious like FSU or University of Florida or wherever. And those that went to the VOTEC were sort of looked down on a little bit. Oh, you're going to be that guy who's the welder. You're going to be that auto mechanic. Not looking at the fact that within a year's time, those people were going to make $30,000 or $40,000. The guy in school was going to be going to school for 4 long years, coming out with $100,000 plus of school debt, and then still having to get trained in something, because we all know that when you come out with a degree, you're not necessarily trained to do a physical job. All that said, what would you say to somebody in high school now, younger than you perhaps, and looking at that, what their options are square in the face? What would you say to them to maybe make them a little bit more cognizant of the fact that this may be the career path to take versus just having to go to a 4-year college?
I mean, it's a great place to start, if nothing else. I mean, you can start doing, there's so many things to choose that you can create a basis of the rest of your life with. I mean, even if you don't feel like that's what you want to stick with, I mean, it gives you an idea of kind of what you want to do later on, because you might get into something and decide you don't like it so much, but you can go somewhere else with it. I mean, if you said you didn't like carpentry, you wanted to do welding. I mean,
we've seen many times where somebody fresh out of high school will come here for a year and get that career and then go to a 4-year college. The difference being they can then work in a well-paid job to work their way through college instead of flipping burgers. Mm-hmm. Nothing wrong with flipping burgers, but it's not the most prestigious job. And if you can work as a cosmetologist or a draftsperson or a welder or a pharmacy tech part-time and then be able to afford to go to that 4-year college, number one, you're going to come out with less school debt, and you're not going to have to take those minimum wage jobs. Yeah. So there's a lot to be said for that, especially people who may be fiscally challenged, can't afford to write a check every year for that tuition, which is the case that most of us are in now, especially with the high cost of 4-year college, but they're able to work their way as they can afford it with a well-paid job. So again, this is not necessarily an alternative to a 4-year college, but could be an addendum to it, an opportunity to be able to afford to go through that 4-year college. Mm-hmm. Is there anything else that you can add about your experience here so far, realizing you just started in August, and I recognize that, but Ms. Taylor definitely sings your praises. You were the first one that she thought of to come and talk about the program. Anything else you'd like to offer about the school?
Well, as far as the program I'm in, I mean, I feel like it's set me up to do greater things. And that's probably going to be my career for the rest of my life.
Would it be fair to say that perhaps it's helped your self-esteem and your confidence, being able to come to a school like this, doing something that was hands-on that you already had an interest in, versus perhaps going away to that 4-year college and sort of being one of just 20 or 30,000 undergraduate students? Would that be fair to say?
Yeah.
Thanks for taking the time today. I like I said at the beginning, I kind of yanked you out of class there, but I think it's important for people to hear from a student's perspective. It's real easy for the administration or instructors to say, yeah, we got a great place here. But when we can talk to somebody with feet on the ground in a classroom, fresh out of high school particularly, who's taking advantage of what we offer here, and from your perspective, hearing where you look for yourself to be in 5 or 10 years because of that training. best of luck going forward. And again, thanks for taking the time today. Maybe you'd sit down and talk to us sometime in the future, especially after you get out of the class and get into that job field. We recently went to Eastern Shipbuilding in Panama City and actually spoke to 4 of the people that had, within that last year or two, graduated, one of which is now the supervisor of the drafts people at Eastern Shipbuilding, and she graduated from this class within the last 10 years. So not only are we putting out people that are in those trades, but also have the ability to get up into the management end of things. So, if maybe somewhere down the road we can talk to you about that.
Of course.
Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you for having me.
We've been here today with Jordan Brown, currently a student in the drafting program under the tutelage of Tanya Taylor here on the campus of Florida Panhandle Technical College. Just one of the 40 degree and certification programs, just one more reason why maybe you should look into what we offer right here. If you would like to find out more, you can go to the website, which is fptc.edu. You can stop by on any day that we're open here at the Student Services on Hoyt Street in downtown Chipley. What our motto says is could be no more true, and that's one life, 1 year, one great career. So check out all that's available here at Florida Panhandle Technical College, and we'll be right back.